It's later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, and we're continuing to monitor what is going on in San Bernardino. If you haven't been listening to KFI, we have been covering the Edgehill fire, which was originally reported around 2:30 p.m. in the area of the 3300 block of Beverly Drive in the Little Mountain community, if you're familiar with it. We know that at least 5 to 6 homes have been destroyed by the fire. That number has been pretty stable throughout most of the day. It has not increased. We're continuing to watch it. There is an evacuation order, which is still in effect. So although there are reports coming out that the fire is under control, the evacuation order, more importantly, is still in effect. And it is as follows. All residents living on the south side of and south of Ridgeline Drive. All residents living on the north side and north of Edgehill Road west to and including Beverly Drive and east to Circle Road. There is an evacuation center which has been set up at Marshall Elementary School, which is 3288 North G Street. Again, this evacuation order is still in effect, and the Edgehill fire is still a disaster area. We know that at least 5 to 6 homes have been consumed by flames, and the area is still dangerous. We have KFI's own Michael Monks, who is on scene getting as much information as possible. Want to start you there. We will continue to follow it and see what new information may come our way, and then we can pass it on to you. We will most likely speak to Michael Monks before the hour is over. Just want to check in with the guys in the studio tonight. Good evening, Mark Ronner.
Mo.
How you doing, my friend?
A little warm. How are you?
Yeah, it was a really warm day, and that actually circles back to the fire. When we have these really hot days, it's not unusual for a fire to break out, and also it makes it much more difficult for firefighters to deal with it, unfortunately.
I can't even imagine being a firefighter in this weather. Those poor guys, good on them.
Look, not everyone can be a first responder. Not everyone is cut out for that job. Not everyone is cut out for that life. And, God bless them. And hopefully they will all remain safe. Stefan, what's going on, my friend? How are you today on this Monday?
Good. And I thought about you a lot because I know you don't like to go out, and I could feel the heat just being at home, and I don't like to go outside. The minute you open that door, it was like a furnace was on me. And I'm like, nope, not going anywhere.
Yeah, I tried to walk the dogs as early as I could so I wouldn't have to subject them to the heat. I like warm temperatures. I don't like this because I can't do anything with it. And Tuala Sharp, it's good to see you on this Monday evening. What's happening?
Life all around us. I'm ready for Ronald to hit us with another rain report. We need it.
We wish.
Oh, no, there ain't no rain coming.
Degrees in Altadena. That's not right.
Yeah, and it's not like it's going to get better anytime immediately soon. Some other things we are going to be covering on the show tonight. You know that outdoor techno EDM festival, which is like right outside SoFi? And people were complaining for miles around. I live about 3 miles from SoFi Stadium. I could hear it. Each and every one of those complaints was legitimate. For a moment, I thought my neighbor was having a party. And then my wife had to tell me, no, that's Hollywood Park, SoFi Stadium area, this outside EDM festival.
I don't like to interrupt your...
No, go ahead.
So I was hearing that too.
Yes.
I thought it was a neighbor that had a massive party.
No, that was SoFi Stadium.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Because it sounded like, okay, someone's having a party. It was like, it's weird. It's Sunday evening. It's like,
that's what I thought.
It's time to tone it down. I mean, damn, y'all. Gotta go to work.
2 a.m. and
yes. Because I had to be up at 6 to do this hit at Spectrum in studio. Something I turned into Get Off My Lawn last night. It's like, turn that down. It's too damn loud. We'll get into that next segment. And also, I don't know if you heard about the pilot who's arrested and removed from the aircraft right before the flight. I don't know about you, but if I'm on a plane, not getting ready to take off, but I'm expecting to take off the next half hour or so, and I see law enforcement come on and remove the pilot, I don't know if I want to stay on that plane. You know what I mean? Why are you removing him? Was he under the influence? Did he do something to the plane? Was he being super suicidal? I'm being serious. All those things would be going through my mind. It's like, maybe that's a sign from God saying, get your ass off the plane. I don't know. But we'll talk about that. And also, did you hear about the man who was sentenced to 2 years for assaulting flight attendants, assaulted police when the plane landed, tried to open the door to the plane mid-flight, and only got 2 years? How is that possible? You're saying I can kick the ass of a flight attendant and then kick the ass of the police when I land, plead guilty, and only get 2 years?
This isn't the guy who had 10 edibles before he went on the plane, is it?
No. That was a pilot.
Okay, because I saw something over the weekend, and it all blurs together because it's not just one thing. A guy who had like 10 times the normal amount of THC and started taking off his clothes and stuff.
Yeah, that was the guy who was sitting in the jump seat in the cockpit.
That really fills you with confidence, doesn't it?
Look, just like my sister said when she was retiring, there's the stuff that we see in the news, and there's the other 95% of the stuff that we don't see that doesn't get to the news, which is
looking into train travel from now on.
Oh, you think those train operators are any better?
Well, it's on a track. How bad could a train go?
Other than a derailing and, ended up like in East Palestine.
Well, you don't have to ruin everything, Morris William, please.
You brought up my middle government name.
What is that?
I know it's your middle name, but damn, it's my name first.
Well, it's something we have in common.
What did Tony Stark say? I'll allow it. It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And KFI's own Michael Monks is still on scene in San Bernardino covering the Edge fire. He will be reporting to the KFI 24-hour newsroom at the bottom of the hour, and he will be coming on with us to close out the hour. So we'll give you the latest on that. Just know that we are on top of the story, and we'll have it for you right here. Last night, I was at home, minding my own business, trying to have a nice, quiet evening as an old man, kind of just rocking in my chair, watching a little TV, eat dinner at 3:30. You know what old people do. And then there was this music, this doom, 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 doom. And I was thinking, like, who has a party on Sunday? It wasn't like it was going to be a holiday on Monday, and it just kept growing louder and louder and louder. I was saying, which one of my neighbors? Now, there's like 12, you've been in my house. There's my neighbors in the housing development, and there are neighbors just outside, in the general neighborhood. And I didn't know where it was coming from. And I was saying, and I looked out the window and I couldn't see where this loud party was emanating. And then my wife pulled me aside and said, oh, yeah, the thing. I said, what do you mean the thing? The thing that's going on at SoFi. No, I don't know the thing that's going on at SoFi. What are you talking about? They're having this this electronica EDM festival. I said, really? He said, oh yeah, it's like all day. And I said, a Sunday? A Sunday? The whole time? The whole time? The whole time? The whole freaking day. Dum, 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 dum. And it got louder and louder and later into the evening. And then I had to get up, day before crack of dawn this morning to do this television hit at Spectrum, which means I get up like maybe 5:30 or so. They're around 5:30. Stefan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know it was way past midnight. It was still going on.
For a second thought it was a neighbor. And I almost felt like get off my lawn type because I opened the door and I'm like, it's not here. It's not my neighbor. Where the H is this coming from? And I go back inside, I'm watching my show, and it's going over the speakers of my TV. And I'm like, what is happening? So I'm glad you brought this up because I thought I was losing my mind because I'm like, I hear it. There's a party going on somewhere and it's not like even near me, but yeah.
The source of the ear-splitting disruption, this is according to the Los Angeles Times, was the Hard Summer Music Festival held at Hollywood Park adjacent to SoFi Stadium. The festival featured techno, house, and dubstep music and attracted some 70,000 attendees. The El Segundo Police Department said it received several noise complaints. I live about 4 miles away from that, and I could hear it as clear as day. I shudder to think what it was like for the people within a 1 mile radius.
Oh my God. Let me tell you, this is related. I watched A Quiet Day Part 1, the origin story this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And you know the premise of this, right, is that some sort of monster aliens come down and nobody can make any noise or it alerts the aliens to their presence.
Right.
I found myself taking the side of the aliens in this one. You got to pick a side. I'm not going to be on the side of the noisy people. I really understand their point of view a lot better at this point.
I could understand why they were often, folks. It was so disruptive. And I have to wonder, how did they manage to make it the whole day? Because someone probably had to have been taken to the hospital because of eardrum damage.
Was it vibrating your sternum?
It was. I'm saying it was rumbling the house. You thought it was close. And then when I figured out it was miles away, I said I couldn't even imagine what it was like for people who were right next to it.
Because I'm sure, Mo, you can appreciate it. Like, you know, a lot of weekends you can go outside and you'll smell barbecues. I'm like, oh, someone's having a party. So I heard that music earlier and I was like, yeah, that's just a party happening. But like you said, 1:30 in the morning, who's still going on a Sunday? Like, that's, like you said, no holiday tomorrow or today, nothing. And they kept going on and on.
It went, the loud music and vibrating bass, according to the LA Times, could be heard and felt across Los Angeles from Culver City to Manhattan Beach. That is freaking ridiculous.
Manhattan Beach?
Manhattan Beach is a good 15 miles away.
That's the ocean.
It's the ocean. Culver City is closer to Venice Beach, okay?
Anybody out in an oil rig someplace hear it?
I'm quite sure. I am quite sure. And this is what El Segundo Police Department said, quote, "We are aware of the loud booming sound affecting the city. It is originating from a music festival near SoFi Stadium. There is no need to call 911 to report." It's not funny, but it's funny because you know somebody was calling 911 to report because that's the only number we know. No one knows how to call the police for non-emergency line. They just call 911.
Did either of you feel it on the 3rd, though? Because it was happening on the 3rd as well.
I wasn't around for much of the 3rd. I had a Hop Keto seminar, which was in Downey. And I was out. I wasn't home for most of that day or even evening. So if it was going on, it probably, in my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, Saturday night party, whatever. And I live close enough to LA Southwest College where, you know, if they're having a party up there or if there's a community event going on up there, you can hear it. It's not a big deal. And it wouldn't have sounded strange. But late Sunday night, it got everybody's attention. Inglewood Police Department said they got calls, 911 calls. El Segundo, LA County Sheriff's Department. There's a substation not far from my house, the Lennox station. And I was talking to some of the detectives over there. They received calls. So, you know, I just wonder how you managed to do that. Look, if I had a party that loud that would shut me down, how did the event not get shut down or at least told to calm it down? Because it was not getting any softer in decibels as the evening went on. It just didn't make sense. You know, if I were 25, it probably would have been great. But I'm not. I'm not 25 anymore. Get off my freaking lawn and turn that music down. It's too damn loud.
Alert the aliens.
You watch your mouth, young man. Wash your mouth out with soap. Don't talk to your elders like that. This young whippersnapper generation needs to learn some manners and learn some respect. When I was that age, we didn't get to play our music that loud. People got mad at us if we turned up our music too loud in our car. And you could hear it in the next car over. They would tell us to turn it down. Now it could be the next city. It could be the next county. And they act like it's no big deal. What's going on in this world? I'm not trying to be funny. These young people need a kick in the ass. Hey, I'm a firm believer of corporal punishment and spanking your kids. I know you're not supposed to do that. Bump that. Beat your kids before they grow up and break in my house. I've said that all the time. And now with all these break-ins, they're saying, you know, Mo was right. They should have been beating their kids when they're younger. Yes, you knew I was right. Spankings. Spank the kids. It was good enough for me. It's good enough for them. Twala, were you spanked growing up?
I think I only got hit once. But I had way too much respect for my mom to need spankings. I did all my stuff on the low.
I'm going to leave that alone. Stephen, were you spanked growing up?
Same like Twala. I was terrified of my mom.
Gosh, my father beat the hell out of me. Mark?
Oh, like you wouldn't believe with the school paddle, with the wooden paddle with the holes in it to make it go faster. I had a teacher make me walk down the hallway, ask another teacher if I could borrow the paddle, let him use it on me, then return it to the teacher and thank her for letting me borrow it to be used on me. You got that?
And you know, I have to tell, if someone's listening who's not at least 50 years old, and I'm being serious, it used to be where there was corporal punishment in public schools, not just private. I'm talking about public schools.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Mrs. Krabappel could whoop your ass legally.
I had a teacher pick me up by my hair once in a public school. They weren't as gentle as they are today.
I had a teacher, Mrs. Traver, 5th grade. She didn't do it to me because I was such a good student.
Okay.
But I saw it happen. She would hit your knuckles with a ruler hard if you held your pencil incorrectly when we were learning cursive.
I thought the nuns had a copyright on that.
No, well, maybe she grew up in some sort of, Catholic environment or something. But this was a public school. This is Arnold Elementary, 1979.
No fun.
Yes. To think if they would do that now.
You wouldn't have EDM festivals until 2 a.m.
Touche. It's later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. I'm going to tell you about the latest in air travel and that craziness in just a moment.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Always got to reset this. I'm not a nervous flyer. I'm not afraid of flying. I'm just aware of stuff which goes on airplanes, and it unsettles me. It's almost like if you worked at a restaurant, you kind of know what happens in the kitchen that goes on, and the customers just don't know. But if they knew, they probably wouldn't ever come back to your restaurant, or any restaurant for that matter. That's how I feel about it. There are these stories which actually make the news, and there are the other stories which don't make the news. And most of the ones, the air issues, the people flipping out, they don't make the news. Or the close calls, or the midair near collisions. Most of them don't make the news. It's more rare that it actually gets picked up by the news. But when it does get picked up by the news, it's usually pretty significant. And you may remember the story about the guy who was on a plane on an LAX to DC flight. He flipped out. He tried to open the emergency door. Well, he was sentenced last week to 19 months in federal prison. You say, why federal prison? Well, he was in the air. Okay, so that makes it a federal crime. Juan Remberto Rivas of LA was sentenced last Wednesday, and he pleaded guilty on January 23rd to only one count of interfering with flight crew members and flight attendants, and was ordered to pay $64,000 in restitution to American Airlines. He won't be eligible for parole, so he has to serve the full 19 months. But the 19 months are for this. At some point during the flight, Rivas got up from his seat, went to the front of the plane, and began arguing with the flight attendant. Rivas told another flight attendant in Spanish people were attempting to hurt him, had followed him onto the plane, and he had heard the individuals harming his family over the phone. Okay, obviously he's having some sort of mental episode. Rivas then grabbed some plastic silverware from a service cart, placed it in his shirt sleeve, and held it like a shank. He also picked up a small champagne bottle, attempted to break it, shoved the service cart into one of the flight attendants, and tried to open an emergency exit door by lifting the handle, and was almost able to do so. According to passenger testimony, that he moved the door away from the frame about 2 to 3 inches. I don't know at what altitude they were as far as whether the pressure would have kept the door closed or not. But for me, as a semi-nervous flyer, that would have been enough for me to try to kill him. Okay? Because I'm not going to let it go that far. I'm going to die, or we're going to die together. But eventually another flight attendant, a second flight attendant, grabbed a coffee pot from the back of the plane and hit Rivas over the head twice. And you think, why do they have to do it twice? Well, this guy is 6'3", 240 pounds. Okay, he's got some heft to him. And once he was on the ground, they taped his legs and used zip ties to restrain him. Rivas, when the plane landed, remember, he was taped and zip tied. He assaulted law enforcement officers who attempted to arrest him after the plane was diverted to Kansas City and landed there. Several officers were injured. He got 19 months. Assaulted flight attendants. Now, it does say he does face a pending charge in Missouri for the assault against a law enforcement officer. So he may get more time, but on the surface, it's only showing 19 months. No early parole. 19 months for one count of interfering with a flight attendant or whatever. I would think it's almost attempted murder because if he's successful, everybody dies.
Should there be, and I know this is impossible, but should there be psych evals for individuals flying? Should you have to do it like a health quiz? Are you okay? Have you been experiencing any depression?
Well, I mean, to one end, are you just going to check that box when you buy your ticket? You know, like they ask you, are you carrying any flammable liquids? Are you carrying any lithium batteries? Are you crazy? Are you psychotic? Yeah, no. To all above. I mean, what are you going to do beyond just having them check the box? And that's just for limiting liability. Where if you check the box, yes, I'm bringing on flammable liquids. Okay, well, we won't allow you on the plane. Yes, I'm crazy and I might try to kill everyone. Okay, you can't come on the plane. I mean, you're expecting people to self-report. I don't know if that'd be a good idea.
I was actually on a flight once where a guy tried to open the back door, and it happened so fast, and I wasn't close enough to do anything. The flight attendant got him away from the door, and I don't think you can just open them like that while the plane's in flight.
Right.
But
was this pre or post 9/11?
Pre. Let's say I spent the rest of the flight wishing I'd packed extra pants.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what will be going through my mind and body at that point.
Oh my God, that happened to me when I was on a flight to DC for a programming conference right after 9/11. I was asleep and woke up to the commotion of a in-flight security officer. They had tackled someone who
was like a plainclothes marshal.
Yeah, who had tried to open up a door.
Passenger 57. All right.
No. And I just woke up to it, and just the person next to me had gripped my arm real hard. And I woke up and I'm like, what the blank? Mm-hmm. And she was like in tears. She's like, oh my God, the guy just tried to open up the door. And I'm like, no. And in my mind,
like the emergency exit or the pilot to
the emergency exit door. And I'm like, no, that's impossible. And I wasn't really, I wasn't thinking that 9/11 could happen again. I'm like, no, we're good. But yeah, they did tackle the guy in the back.
Yeah. That's not something I would like to experience. And then there's the Frontier Airlines pilot who was arrested and removed from the plane in handcuffs right before takeoff. This is your captain speaking. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to continue on this flight all the way to Atlanta Airport as I'm presently in handcuffs. So taking over will be with first mate, Wallace Sharp. Thank you and have a great day. I don't know exactly how I would respond to that because I've been on a plane. Actually, when I was going to Korea, when we landed in Korea, local law enforcement came to get this guy we were talking to, and they didn't forcibly remove him, but they said, sir, you mind coming with us? So evidently they were waiting for him. But the flight was over. I don't know how I would respond if law enforcement were to get on the plane and arrest the pilot, and I put that in air quotes because you don't know why the person's getting arrested. Is this an impersonator? Is this someone who's running from the law and he's trying to steal a plane? Is he suicidal? I don't know what to think. And all I know is if law enforcement comes on the plane and removes the pilot, that is a sign from God to get off the plane. That's God intervening right there. Right there. Yeah. Get off the plane. You're not meant to be on that plane. You or the pilot. Get off the plane. Final destination.
So they don't know what was up with this guy? We got to find this out.
Well, video captured at George Bush Intercontinental Airport showed Captain Seymour Walker, nice name, being escorted off the Frontier plane by authorities around 4 p.m. local time, August 1st. Walker was wanted on an assault family violence arrest warrant issued by the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport Department of Public Safety. He was taken into custody without incident. The activity occurred prior to the start of boarding for Flight 3195 scheduled for Houston to Dallas-Fort Worth. A replacement crew member was not immediately available, and therefore the flight was canceled. Thank you, Jesus. So no one had to fly because I know I'm getting off the plane.
Start looking into Greyhound, I think.
You know what? I took a Greyhound up to Sacramento when I was going up for Hot Keto Seminar. This was back in April. It wasn't too bad. It was not a bad experience. You know, you got your bus with the Wi-Fi. You had your electrical outlet. The only down part was some of the people on there just did not bathe prior to getting on. You know,
leave the driving to us.
Okay, go ahead and give it to him. Go ahead and give it to him. No, we got time. Go ahead and give it to him. I'll wait.
I don't need your pity.
Oh.
I don't need your charity rim shots.
That's okay. That's all right because you're not going to get much else. It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And do we have any Pink Floyd fans? How about Australian Pink Floyd? One of the best cover bands in the world, especially when it comes to Pink Floyd. Well, they're going to be performing in Los Angeles next week. And guess who's going to be giving away two pairs of tickets each night on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week? Guess who? I'll give you three guesses. First two don't count. It's not going to be Stefan.
Not coming up with anything.
Not Mark.
No.
And it's not Chris Little. So it's probably Twala.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Having sold over 5 million tickets to concerts that have taken place in 35 countries, the Australian Pink Floyd show is rightfully hailed as one of the most in-demand touring entities currently operating. The Times newspaper in London described them as the gold standard. The act is so good they were even hired by David Gilmour himself to perform at his 50th birthday party celebration. Put another way, don't miss the Australian Pink Floyd show. In fact, it's coming to L.A. August 14th at the Orpheum Theater. We're going to be giving away 2 pairs of tickets, 2 pairs every single night this week. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 2 pairs of tickets every night this week. In fact, if you don't win them here, you can always get them online at Ticketmaster.com. I'll tell you right now, we're giving the tickets away next hour. But right now, we have to find out what is happening on the ground in San Bernardino as KFI's own Michael Monks joins us with the latest. Michael, how are you tonight?
Hey, good evening, Mo. It's pretty hot out here in San Bernardino, but not as hot as it was a little bit earlier, and that's important apparently for these firefighters. And I only say apparently because one of their spokespeople said it was difficult to manage the fire out here at Little Mountain when it was 109, but then the temperature dropped to about 104, and it was a little more manageable for some reason. They were able to get this under control within about 4 or 5 hours. It's still burning. There's still some fire going on out there. About 50 acres burned, including several very lovely homes at the top of this hill. I understand them to be rather historic old homes. And now, though, as far as any spread, that looks like the threat is over.
The threat may be over, but we know that at least 5 homes were destroyed. Do we know or have any sense of the extent of damage beyond that? Has it grown in any way?
No, the spokesperson for the fire department would not specifically indicate exactly how many what they call structures were hurt and whether how many of those structures were homes, and did not offer at this time an estimate on what that damage was. But we saw from our media friends on television that it was pretty extensive to several, certainly multiple homes, and they did look like they were from some very nice and large homes.
I know that there's been speculation about the cause, and I know you were trying to chase down some information and leads on what may have been some of the precipitating factors. Do we know more on why and how it started?
The fire department spokesperson could not indicate what any investigators have found yet. They were on the scene for a shorter period of time than the guys putting out the flames. But a source in the police department did inform me that they have identified someone. We can't say suspect or that someone was detained, but they found someone who may have knowledge about the origin of this fire, and that they were talking to this person. What information they were hoping to glean or have gathered, we're not yet clear on.
Do we know, since the sun is going down and is getting to becoming dark, whether that will impact how the fire department will proceed throughout the rest of the night?
they're going to work on this. And my understanding, again, is that as the temperatures fall a little bit more out here, all of that is good news. There was a little bit of wind, and those can be antagonistic for fires and exacerbate them. We don't have those Santa Ana winds going on out here, which a lot of people expressed gratitude for. So they'll work through the night as long as it takes to put this thing out. But already the scene had calmed dramatically from the scenes that we saw this afternoon. I talked to some neighbors at the bottom of the hill in some of the more modest homes, but still in a lovely neighborhood, who were in their go zone. They were spraying down their homes, spraying down their grass in anticipation that this fire was going to come down the hill and get them as well. And while it was certainly tragic for some families tonight losing their homes, it was not as bad as people thought it could have been.
Before I let you go, let me ask you this. What would you say is the air quality? Is it relatively decent? I know it can't be good, but it seems like you're very close to the fire situation. You can talk normally, so I didn't necessarily know if air quality was an issue.
It wasn't bad at all from the bottom of the hill. By the time that I was a witness to any of this, the smoke had turned white, and I know that that's significant in firefighting. So it may have been a stronger stream of smoke that was more impactful to people's breath earlier in the afternoon, but by this evening, the firefighters had done such swift work that the smoke was mostly white at that point, and the air was perfectly normal.
Michael Monks, thank you for giving us the latest on that. And I know you may be out there for a little while longer, and you'll have some other reports for KFI, so I'll be listening in as well. Thank you for what you do.
Mo.
It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You can listen to KFI everywhere, like you haven't noticed.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live.